Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank the people in Babono for their confidence in me, and I promise them that I will give them representation in this honorable house. Mr. Speaker, let me take leave to congratulate our fastest woman in St. Lucia, Ms. Julian Alfred, for her excellent performance at the recent Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, UK. And let me congratulate Team St. Lucia for representing us well. We have to congratulate our women who continue to make us proud, as well as our men who have always carried some of the burdens of national development. Look at so many of them, Mr. Speaker, in this honorable house. Let me express condolences to the former Speaker of the House, Mr. Donald Alsey, and I express condolences with the families and thank him for his contribution to national development. I want to thank our former clerk, Ms. Linda Gustav, for her excellent job in this house, and I will miss that voice. I have heard that voice for so many years, and I was very pleased when I met her in person, and I said, I've always admired your voice. I'm happy she will still be around to pass on some of her skills to her colleagues. Mr. Speaker, let me express condolences to the family of the lady who was brutally murdered in Choiseul, and hope the perpetrators are brought to swift justice. On a positive note, Mr. Speaker, I need to report to this honorable house that I have spoken to our Calypso Queen, Miss Minel Delis, and she indicated that she is recovering speedily. Mr. Speaker, I am here today to pledge my complete, unconditional support to this Special Prosecutor Bill of 2022. Mr. Speaker, I mentioned the two incidents of tragedy of our women just to remind our people that we need justice in this country. This government has inherited a country that was experiencing moral decay, economic destruction, and the erosion of social values. Mr. Speaker, this government is committed to do damage control and put this country back on a steady course for recovery and a path to national advancement. We need, Mr. Speaker, to raise the hopes of our people and stop signs of hopelessness that continues to flood our media houses on a daily basis. When I heard my colleague Minister of Agriculture spoke of bananas back in England, I feel so proud, Mr. Speaker, because I heard so much talk about bananas that would have gone to France, and it did not even reach Martinique.
Who said that?
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, this Special Prosecutor Bill is not about them. It's about us to deal with prevention, treatment, and cure of malpractices, corruption, and corruption in the public service. The people of St. Lucia put a government to manage its affairs, to enact laws, develop policies, put regulations and guidelines in place to ensure good governance, safety, security, and productivity of its people. The bill is not for politicians. It is for public officials, meaning persons who work for the people of St. Lucia, who are employed by the government. Whether you're a politician, a public servant, a public official. I googled what is meant by special prosecutor, Mr. Speaker. And the meaning given in Google, August 2022, states that special prosecutors, also known as independent counsels, are typically appointed to investigate and prosecute high-profile cases where the ordinary criminal justice machinery cannot be trusted to produce fair results. State and local governments occasionally use special prosecutors. I heard the member opposite indicated that we have several persons, several agencies that are already addressing some of the issues that are in this bill. Well, let me remind him that this bill is an upgrade. It has captured the weaknesses of the others and put it together so that we can deal with some of the deficiencies that exist in existing legislation. Mr. Speaker, this bill speaks to corrupt conduct, actions by public officers or officials that knowingly achieves for the public officer, public official, or for another person an undue advantage. Mr. Speaker, after I read this bill, I said, according to some of the people, how is Mio? Meaning, why now? For so long I've been following Parliament. For so long I've been out of Parliament. This bill was waiting for when I came to Parliament. So some people will tell you, how is Mio? But Mr. Speaker, I applaud the Prime Minister for keeping to the promise that we made to the people of St. Lucia. And we promise to right the wrong. We promise to improve the situation in St. Lucia, and we are doing exactly that. Mr. Speaker, there is a popular phrase which says, follow the money. Getting rich quick. Some say bubble. Some say cocoa macacri. I recall having a conversation with the Prime Minister, and I said, Prime Minister, at the end of this term of office, the salary that they pay ministers will not amount to $1 million. I just did the mathematics. And by doing so, people are asking how some people became millionaires overnight. Mr. Speaker, this bill addresses public office, public officer, public official. These are government positions and persons employed by the government. There are persons these are the persons who could be prosecuted as defined within the parameter of this bill. Mr. Speaker, I did raise the point that getting rich quick is one that will raise many people's eyebrows. And there are persons we notice in our society who have gotten rich very quickly, and they are spoken about in the constituencies, but certain devices and operations are used as cover-up. And some people camouflage it. And they said they sold books. They published a book and they were able to raise money. I didn't know that was the bestseller. Some said they had transports. We don't know how many route bands. Some said they have agriculture. We don't know when banana shoot up again. Some said their mother, their father are well off, so they themselves got. Some said it's their wife. I've been following the media to justify how some persons that are alleged to be millionaires among us, how did they get rich so quickly? As a former teacher, principal, trade unionist, community activist, promoter of gender equality, involved in non-governmental organizations, civil society organizations, I recalled once I used to hear about bubble. And I said, but what bubble could I do in the school? Am I going to steal somebody's child and bring the child home?
Still chalk.
We had markers, Bristol board, pens. You know, those little things we have to do to try and help school going. There was no room for any bubble. We could not have been millionaires there, Mr. Speaker. And even becoming a politician, it becomes even harder. One, this bill is keeping us in line. I told the Prime Minister, this bill will handcuff all of us and put a yoke around our neck. But it is not about us. It's about St. Lucia. It's about the future of the next generation. And Mr. Speaker, I recall during the campaign, there was a young man in my constituency in his 30s, and he said he is a millionaire. I said, what is the trick? Why don't you share it with the other boys on the block once it is through the legal means? I don't know what strategy he used, but he said he is a millionaire. I heard the member opposite said he has a little kakada in the bank. I wonder why he alone has kakada and the others have toothpaste. You didn't go to the same store so that you leave out the kakada and purchase some toothpaste. Mr. Speaker, this bill is there to protect me and to protect you. And I will tell you, Mr. Speaker, why. The persons in my constituency are putting pressure on me to do certain things. And I said, no, it's not right. I'm not doing this. I'm not engaging in any underhand dealing. So now I have the instrument that will justify my actions and my behavior. And this is what our colleagues on this side preach every day. Let us do everything above board. Let us do what is right. And Mr. Speaker, if I had any aspirations to be millionaire in this government, I am further away from it. Because every day, people walk into my constituency and they ask for assistance. Now every dollar this Prime Minister has, you have to sign for it, and you must go in the treasury to pick it up. And nobody else signs my name except me. So I cannot let people go and collect money on my behalf on their names.
Oh, you want to put your letter too?
I wish I could get one. And for those, Mr. Speaker, it is alleged who purchase property, transport on other people's names, they have difficulty now to take it back on their name because some of the people refuse to transfer. It's my property, why should I transfer it back to you? So, Mr. Speaker, this bill is one that will help us, it will strengthen our position, it will give us the legitimacy to continue to practice and do what is right in this country, so that we can stamp out corruption. Mr. Speaker, St. Lucia, a few years ago, ranked very high in the region. And Mr. Speaker, I can tell you that because I work regionally and I work internationally. And I listen to what people were saying about St. Lucia. And today, maybe starting from last year, July 2026, we are trying to bring it back to where it was. July 26, 2022, we are trying to bring it back to where it was, Mr. Speaker. And one thing I would encourage we have to do here in this house is to document the number of legislations that this government has passed in this house. And every piece of legislation is to enhance and improve the quality of life for people in this country. Mr. Speaker, you recall in March we passed the domestic violence bill. And Mr. Speaker, that has worked wonders for St. Lucia, continues to work wonders. We just went through the bill dealing with the youth economy. We deal with the bill dealing with amendment to the firearms and a number of other legislation. And if we compile that into a booklet, you would have seen the leap that this country has taken in 1 year. And this will certainly give us the kind of ranking that will put us apart with our other countries in the region, because when we pass this legislation, Mr. Speaker, it's going to send a signal to the regional and international community that St. Lucia is not accepting corruption. And with that, people are going to develop confidence in this country. That is the nature of this bill. Regionally, and I did not know, some people underestimate social media. And the little discussion that we have here, we think because it's in this room, it's about us. It's about the world. And after we passed the domestic violence bill, this bill, Mr. Speaker, it was in high demand before it became an act. People were asking for it regionally. They said they need a copy of the bill. So when we go through this special prosecutor bill, people are going to ask, what is it St. Lucia is doing? And then the eyes of the world will be on us, because they are going to watch us like a hawk to see if we are engaging in any form of corruption. So, Mr. Speaker, it's a message that is sent to public officers. We manage the public service, we work with public officers, and we have to tell them, no, it's not like before. Things have changed. According to the law, this is what we are supposed to do. I cannot help you in this because this is crossing line with the special prosecutor bill. Mr. Speaker, upon the appointment of the special prosecutor, the ministry responsible for the public service shall, on the advice of the Attorney General, in writing, set the terms and conditions of employment of the special prosecutor. For the avoidance of doubt, the special prosecutor is also a public officer. So if the special prosecutor decides to go on a side or go below board, then that special prosecutor is also open to be prosecuted too. So it is not for one and not for all, it's for all of us. So there is no escape. Mr. Speaker, in keeping with modern trends for productivity in the public service, there will be the need to ensure that the terms and conditions of employment include key performance indicators. Too often, Mr. Speaker, we appoint public officers and we do not put proper measures in place to evaluate their performance in the job. Public servants are constantly accused of poor performance. How do we measure performance of our officers? Many times we hear persons request promotion and an increase in salaries without adding value to performance and responsibilities. So the St. Lucian public will be out there to see what is it our public prosecutor will deliver, and the expectations are very high. So the public prosecutor has to deliver, because people want to see. Don't tell me all the talk about corruption that the public prosecutor cannot get one case. Mr. Speaker, the special prosecutor has to get to the bottom of many of the statements alleged cases of corruption in the government or by politicians and persons employed by government. The people need answers to their questions under suspicion. Mr. Speaker, this is a promise we made to the people of St. Lucia in the manifesto, and as cited by Minister for Soufrière on page 28 under the section Good Governance, Anti-Corruption and Constitutional Matters. Enact anti-corruption legislation, and we have no choice but to fulfill that. And that is what we are here to do today. Mr. Speaker, this bill is designed to ensure that we as politicians and public officers walk a straight, stay on track, and walk on a straight and narrow path. It's almost like a handcuff. Mr. Speaker, those who went before us may not end up being any better. The Creole phrase says, "Chat pala, wat kabaybal." So, ça qui a fait, ça a bien fait. They may have had a ball, but they may be having a diarrhea now. Those who put cocoa out to dry, they need to watch out for the rain. Ça qui mette kako dehors pour sec, yo ka ni pour veiller pour la pluie. Et ça qui a commencé ni la digit, c'est yo poupée. Mr. Speaker, I recall telling the Prime Minister, I hope he has the library, not the book, the library that he has found in government to pass over to this special prosecutor when that person will be appointed. Because I have heard so much, I have seen so much. I want an independent person to examine it and tell us what he or she has found. Mr. Speaker, when a Prime Minister could pay over $7 million for vaccines and we have not received one, Mr. Speaker, where did the money go? Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has a long list of money that was wasted. Prime Minister, I hope you have it in a safe, so when the prosecutor comes, he can examine that. We need these monies, Mr. Speaker, to help the people in St. Lucia, to improve the quality of life, send the children to school, take care of their health, improve housing, pay their bills, put food on the table, and earn a livable wage, Mr. Speaker. We need that. And that special prosecutor will help us recover some of the monies you di dans l'argent say we about wash, Mr. Speaker. Ada bomb, because it cannot be deposited in the bank. A young lady met me and she told me some guy told her she's he's tired of holding these monies. I don't know. I hope the special prosecutor can reach there. Mr. Speaker, what is of critical importance is protection of persons making complaints, because we know we have a challenge with protection for witnesses and persons making claims. Mr. Speaker, the people have been asking for a special prosecutor. So today, we are here to deliver the wish. They need to be mindful that the Prime Minister and the ministers cannot arrest or charge anyone, even if you have the evidence. You do not have the power to do that. It must be done according and within the law. Let the person who will be so appointed after this bill has become an act and a law, let that person do what we expect and what is right. Mr. Speaker, I give all my support to this bill. I stand with the Prime Minister 110% so that we get this bill in operation after it has become law. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and I thank my colleagues for the very patient and attentive hearing. I rest my case, Mr. Speaker.